Welcome to the Top Listing Agent Show, the place to be to stay on the cutting edge of what it takes to sell more homes in less time. Each week, your host, Chadi Bazzi, will share with you the best skill sets, systems, and strategies so you can become a top listing agent. And now, let the show begin.
Welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Chadi Bazzi here, your host. Super duper excited to have a guest that I've been literally about to have a conversation with, that I've been wanting to have a conversation with, a gentleman like that, I'd say for well over a decade. Someone that speaks the same language, someone that shares the same beliefs that I share, and someone that's really making a difference in the real estate world. Mr. Daniel Ramsey, welcome to the Top Listing Agent Show.
Thanks for having me, Chadi. I love being here with your audience.
Thank you, brother. Well, I think you're the perfect person for my audience, because there's been a lot of buzz within my audience talking about, having conversations along the line of number one, how do I, leverage my business? How do I scale my business? How do I build a team? And what is this whole entire virtual world that everybody's talking about? So, Daniel, I think a good beginning would be why don't you introduce yourself to my audience and, tell them who you are and what you do and how you help real estate agents.
Sure. So first things first, I'm a real estate broker. I freaking love this industry. So if you're listening, I'm the guy. I'm driving with my family last weekend. There's an open house and I'm like, babe, I got to stop, man. I just can't help myself. I love serving real estate brokers. I am one. And we've built a company completely around helping agents buy some of their life back. The origin story of our business is I'm in where am I? I'm in Guatemala on my honeymoon. I'm in a Francis Ford Coppola resort, sick place, right? Overlooking a lake, and I'm with my new bride. We've been married 2 days, and the bartender at the bar, because that's the only place there was Wi-Fi, is making fun of me at 1 a.m. because I'm literally on my laptop closing a deal. And that's just the reality of, being in the real estate world is we're always working. And fortunately, I'm still married. We're going to be 10 years this year because she just knew that that's just who I am. Right. But we started my outdesk because I knew at that moment I wanted to have a family. I wanted to actually build a business that didn't need me every single moment of the day. And that's what my outdesk is. It just helps agents and brokers buy back some of their time.
Terrific. All right. So you began operating, you started my outdesk in 2007, you said, right?
Well, I hired my first virtual assistant in 2007. And, at that time where I am in Sacramento, California, the market was on fire. We were killing it. And it was back in the REO and short sell, time frame. And I had a real estate brokerage, real estate investment company that I actually just sold 2 years ago. And then my outdesk, because I hired my first virtual assistant. I was like, okay, well, now what? And then she's like, well, I got a friend. And then I got a friend, and we turned
and I got a family member, and I got a cousin.
Yeah, and then all my friends, people like you, I'm traveling and speaking on stage, and people are like, hey, could you get me one? And our first client was a San Diego broker who did 3,000 transactions, and he had 27 staff members. And when he hired us for the first time, we eventually got to 17 people in his office. But when he hired us, we whacked his payroll by $200,000 a month.
Wow.
And he was like, dude, and guess what? My clients are happier. My in-house staff, they're happier because they're doing the highest level work. And we cut his costs. And, everybody that was doing paperwork and silly stuff in the office started to do cool stuff like interacting with clients and selling deals and getting referrals. And our people took on everything else, everything that's not a licensed job, our people took on. And so we cut costs, we increased the service level to the banks and the short sell, the end user clients. And he was just ecstatic. And so he was our first client in April of 2008.
That is awesome. You know what I want to do, Daniel, is I want to hope people to really pay attention to what it is that we're talking about. And I just want to say something real quickly. For those of you who have been, following me for a long time, for those of you that I have a relationship with and really see my lifestyle and see the marketing and the branding and the omnipresence that I have online, what a lot of you guys really don't understand is that, I have a secret weapon, and secret weapon that I don't talk a lot about publicly. Not that I'm holding that secret weapon back. It's just never really been part of the conversation until we have it right now. Is I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to travel the way I travel, live the lifestyle that I do. And I wouldn't be able to serve you at the highest level that I'm serving you right now if it weren't for my secret weapon, and her name, I'm not even going to give her name because then everybody's going to want my secret weapon. We'll just call her, A. That's what we're going to call her. The most amazing person who makes me look better than I really am publicly. And I think every single person out there, like literally every single person out there, like every single one of my clients is going to be pushed in this direction at an even higher level right now. Everybody needs a secret weapon. So my secret weapon is my virtual assistant. And what I love about my virtual assistant, Daniel, is that, she's on a completely different time zone. So I'm going through my day all day, every single day, and I'm just like writing down the tasks that I need. I check out, 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. I go out, I have a good time, I go to sleep, I wake up, and my freaking damn things are done. It's awesome. So that's what I'll do. So Daniel, I'm going to ask you some specific questions now. Talking to the real estate agent. I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm somebody's watching this interview right now, and they're thinking to themselves, all right, so why do I need a virtual assistant? What is that virtual assistant going to do for me? What would be your answer to that? And remember, we're not trying to sell anyone on anything today. All we're doing is having a conversation. The people who, believe this is right for them, they're going to raise their hand and say, hey, give me more information. And some people are going to think you guys are crazy, and, we love you anyways.
Yeah, yeah. What's funny? I like to real estate. We're behind the times, man, and it's nuts because companies like GE, 80% of their workforce is out of the U.S. When you start thinking about the multinationals, these large organizations, like they've been outsourcing since the 70s and 80s, and in the real estate world, it just hasn't caught on yet, man. And it's wild to us. I mean, we've served 5,000 people. We've helped 5,000 people just like you listening right now outsource a portion of their business. And, you asked why? Well, everybody who is a Fortune, the Fortune 500s have been doing it. Well, in real estate, what's our Fortune 500s? It's the top 100, right? Of the top 100, we serve 36 of them. And these are all people making millions of dollars selling and listing real estate just like you. And Chadi, you've got one. I mean, like, the reality is, if you're not doing this right now, you're missing out on the savings, you're missing out on the time, and really you're probably missing out on growing your revenue because you're doing stuff that you should not be doing as an agent.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I personally been using a virtual assistant since 2009. So we're talking about 2009.
That's
over 10 years. I know, that's a decade.
Carry the one, do the
I got to give her a 10-year bonus, 10-year anniversary bonus, don't I?
Yeah, I think that's is that diamond or silver? What's the 10?
That's diamond. I think that I don't know. I made it to 11 years. I don't know what happened during year number 10. So I got the boot. Year 11. So it's all good. All right. So platinum, maybe platinum, diamond. Who cares? Hey, that's a good question for my virtual assistant. She's got to find out, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all right. So yeah.
No, I mean, I want to give them one more thing, like, right? So there are 2 million licensees out there, and there's only 50,000 of us, people like you and me, and everybody on this call or listening on Facebook right now. There's only 50,000 that are ever going to do 25 deals or more annually. So there's a really small pool of people who understand leverage, who understand scale. And, if you're in that space where you're doing 25, 40, 50 deals, you probably need us. Like, you need leverage. And
right.
Because otherwise, you just work yourself into a tailspin eventually.
Terrific. Okay. So let's say I go ahead and I do hire a virtual assistant, as a real estate agent, what can a virtual assistant do for me? And let's not just say leverage. Let's not just say save you time. Let's not just say save you money. Let's just be very specific in terms of like, what are some of the things that a virtual assistant can do for me?
I love it, man. I love it. I was talking to a broker in Minnesota, and he's out of all the independents, he's number 118 across the country. They do a couple thousand transactions. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, what's the one thing that we've done to rock your world? And he's like, and he's a broker and he's building a large team. They've got 400 agents that work in their offices. They got 3 offices, different areas. But what he said, and he reported, he's like, look, Daniel, before I hired my outdesk, I was the one on the phones doing the recruiting calls. I was trying to find team members. I was the one like doing all the work around getting people on the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I hired my outdesk, and now all he does is 2 to 3 coffee appointments every single day. And sometimes he cancels Mondays and Fridays and month end closes because you know how those go crazy. But he's like, look, I have 10 to 15 recruiting in-person coffee appointments with productive agents in my market who need our services. And prior, I would only get 3 or 5 on my own because I was just doing too many different things. So one of my favorite things that we help brokers or agents or teams do is help them recruit and grow their revenue. So another client of ours, he actually, it's an interesting story. They're exactly 367 days with my outdesk. So they've been exactly a year. And this one prospecting virtual assistant has been responsible for the initial call, conversion, and then warm transfer of 142 transactions in
Wow.
1 year. Okay. Just prospecting and talking to clients. And, I was just on a call with another CEO the other day, and he's trying to buy a $3 million property. And so he literally went on the listing, messaged the agent and said, I need to see this property on Saturday. I'd like to do it at 4 p.m. And he's a busy guy. Like, he runs a really large tech startup. I was on the call with him just 2 days ago, right? Been 2 weeks, literally nobody ever called him. His girlfriend ended up going to the house, knocking on the door and saying, we'd like to see your house at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Do you mind if we could do that? And she said, your agent, it's been 4 days and your agent hadn't gotten back to us. So we were hoping to be able to schedule this for 4 o'clock when my boyfriend can come. They're about to get married, right? So, I mean, look, if you need help on the phones, that's an area that we just crush for our clients.
Okay, so hold on. So that's one area. So what you're trying to tell me, we're going to talk about some of the other stuff. So what you're trying to tell me is, and I think this might be a good thing for a lot of people out there, because I coach people from all over the country, and sometimes some of the people like literally have a fear of getting on the phones, okay, to make the prospecting call. So what they can do is they can delegate that fear. They can delegate that activity. And then you're telling me that somebody from my outdesk will actually call on the first sale by owners, on the expireds, etc., and try to build relationships to try to set appointments for any real estate agent anywhere in the country is what you're saying.
Yeah, we do that all day long. Whether it's getting listings, we have virtual assistants that are calling your sphere, inviting them to client events. We have other folks who are actually out there. Every time a new lead registers, our people are picking up the phone and just asking them, hey, what's your time frame and what's your motivation? So your first question is like, how can we help? Think in your business right now, because this show is about scaling with virtual assistants, right?
Right.
What you want to do is like, look at this year and try to quantify how many hours of prospecting has your business done just this year. Just this year. I mean, look, we're into month 5, so we got 4 months. That's a third of the year. If you want to continue to get the results that you're getting right now, do nothing. Like, just do nothing. But if you want to double the results, or if you're in growth mode, or you really want to kind of hone your skills, look, how would I double or triple the amount of conversations I'm having with people who want to sell or buy houses? And that's what we help people do.
Love it. Love it. All right. So are your, we're going to stay on the topic of making the phone calls. I think this is a hot one because there's a lot of people that really believe in the power of the phones and they just can't get themselves to pick up the phone. Are your virtual assistants already trained to pick up the phone, or is it something that, like, if I were to hire your company, would I have to train my virtual assistant, or do they already come, trained, semi-trained?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, if you think, did you do any sports like when you were a kid? Like, what was your sport, right?
My sport was in the I can't tell you what my sport was. You're asking questions to get me in trouble today.
No, no.
While the guys were on the football field, I wasn't.
Doing other things. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, so I'm personally, as an adult, like I fell in love with soccer in high school. I was a wrestling guy, and I'm a wrestling coach now. But and the reason I love the sports analogy is because I think it's so appropriate when you're hiring people. As a soccer player, I look to the best soccer players to learn from. I see them doing these fancy moves, and I'm like, wow, I think I could try that. And so then I try that, right? And so people always ask, do they come pre-trained? Do I have to spend time with them? I don't have any time, so I want to. The reality is the best players in sport, they look to the other best players or the coach, the people who know how to do it, people like you, to help them get up to speed. And the reality is our virtual assistants, we put them through a 2-week like crash course, like what's real estate, what is an MLS, what's title, what's mortgage, like all that kind of just basic understanding. But we hire prospectors, meaning people who are just used to pounding the phone all day long. We hire those folks, and then we put them in your office, and then with your coaching and your kind of mentorship, they
You
get
just got to mold them.
yeah, you got to mold them just like any other person, right?
Yeah. So that way they understand your mindset, they understand your marketplace, they understand your personality style, etc., and then they just adapt to it. But they've already gotten all the basic training.
But yeah, so we teach them LP Mama, but again, it's only 2 weeks and it's not specific to your market. LP Mama is one of my favorite buyer scripts. It's a very simple one, but the point is, we show them that. But I got some tricks, man, and I want to share these tricks. So if you're listening and you're thinking, gosh, I need a prospector, whether it's one of ours or you're going to go hire somebody, an ISA for your office, whatever the case is, I just want you to be supported. So one trick that we use to get our virtual professionals or virtual assistants up to speed really quick is subscribe them to the local newspaper, the real estate section. Subscribe them to the Facebook group in the neighborhood that they're calling, right? Like I live in East Sacramento. It's like on the outskirts of downtown. It's still kind of downtown, but we have like a Facebook group for East Sacramento. So everything that's going on gets poured into that group, right? And so I just add my virtual assistants to that group. I add them to the local business. I add them to the Sacramento Bee, so that they can kind of get a feeling of what's going on. And then I get a map for them where I write in, like, on the zip codes, the names of the neighborhood. So these are great tips regardless of who you hire. If you're putting somebody in your office, how do they get up to speed? How do they know, like, every nook and cranny of the city and the neighborhoods and the valuations, right? So these are just little tips and tricks you can use to really get somebody up quick and adding value fast.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Perfect. Okay. So we know that we can use our ISA, or not ISA, our virtual assistant, to make telephone calls for us. Obviously, they can follow up on your leads because another big complaint in the real estate industry is I ain't got time to follow up on a lead, or I followed up with the lead and they've already bought from someone else or listed through someone else. So they can stay on top of your your follow-ups for you. They could, just from the things that I work on with some of my clients that have virtual assistants, they can actually clean up and set up your whole entire database, which 90+% of the agents have a CRM that they don't use because they haven't taken the time to input their people in it. They can do all of that for them. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, your virtual assistant can work with you on your branding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to slow down because you glossed over it, but it's such an important point. Like your database, man. we had Steve Murray on a couple months ago, and we did a little video like this with him. And he has been in 736 different transactions where he represented the buyer or the seller of a real estate team or practitioner, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, look, there's only one thing that is different. The people who have systems and processes in place get a higher valuation. And in real estate, there's no more important system than your CRM. And I can't tell you how much love and time we as a company pour into agents' CRM, because it's such a vital point and part of your business. And yet it's like the little wicked stepchild, you kind of kick them in the I'll get to that one day. I'm kicking over here, one day.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So yeah, so they can help out with their database, etc. What else can they do, Daniel? I mean, I know what they do. I'm just trying to get it out of you. I mean, they can do your postcards. They can do your property flyers. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, based on your company, it might be a different agenda, etc. But this is, some of the things that I've seen, virtual assistants, do. My virtual assistant has also been responsible for creating some of the best pre-listing packages in the industry that we pass on to my clients. I'm like, well, we'll do it for you. My assistant will do it for you, etc. Yeah. So let's just give them a larger overview of like specifics. Like your virtual assistant can do A, they can do B, but what if they can't do C? Do you guys tag that task to another virtual assistant in the company or not? Like, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, it's good. I want to land. You're spot on. Look, we're marketers. Like, I want to be clear. If you're not, there's two things that our secret sauce as a real estate professional. One, we're all in sales. Like, we're either selling listings, like to get them from clients, or we're trying to recruit team members. So we're all in sales, 100%. We don't have inventory. We don't have a factory. We don't produce anything. We're just like a middleman, right? So We're in sales. But the other thing that we're in is marketing. And most agents are great at sales, but they're not great at branding. They're not great at positioning. And so we would help a lot. I mean, we help a lot of clients. We have a couple hundred people right now that are doing like listing presentations, getting that kind of customized each listing presentation that you go on. A lot of people are using systems to kind of get their listings out there in the universe. I mean, what we used to do, like, the whole throw it on MLS, get on bended knee and pray that it sells, that ain't working anymore. Like, you got to do more. They expect social, they expect emails, they expect you to be mining people, they expect you to respond. You think that $3 million listing, when that lady knocked on the door and said, your agent didn't call me back and we've been wanting to see this, you think that agent kept that listing? You think they?
Of course not. There's no way.
Maybe that worked 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but it ain't working now. The information is out there. So yeah, I mean, marketing is such a big part of what we do as a company for our brokers and agents. And it's also, if you look at, so according to NAR, it takes about 45 hours to get a listing, to, go to the listing appointment, negotiate the deal, find them another house, do the paperwork, and then, show up at the end. But 30 hours of the 45 hours is paperwork. 30 hours. That includes all the marketing. That includes all of the transaction coordination and listing coordination. It includes writing up the contract for the buyers because they found another house and they got a house to sell. Like, that includes all of that stuff. So when you think about if it takes 45 hours to close one transaction, the question you have to ask yourself, what are the parts in the transaction that only I can do?
Yeah.
What are the things that are unique to me? And like, I'm a badass because I do this and this really well. Likely it's it's a listing presentation, negotiating the contracts. Everything else, I mean, can go to us,
Absolutely. I love it. So basically, I think one of the biggest problems anyone is going to have that's going to hire a virtual assistant is because they are going to, encounter a problem. The problem is, what do I do with all this free time I now have? right?
Well,
I
you
got
probably have
you.
the answer to that, right? What do you
I
think?
do. Yeah. I mean, enjoy it. Spend it with your family. Stop feeling guilty for, knowing that you want to be with your significant other, your children, your family members, and you are slouched over your desk saying, I'm sick and tired of doing all that paperwork, or I'm sick and tired of trying to figure out social media because it keeps on changing so rapidly and so quickly, and my clients expect it of me, and I can't do it. I think I think having a virtual assistant is definitely going to alleviate a lot of stress for you. I mean, look at me. Like, my virtual assistant just sent me a message yesterday saying, "Sir," she calls me sir. Like,
Yeah.
stop calling me sir.
Or
Yeah,
or boss, right?
yeah, or boss. You know,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Sir, we should create a Facebook and Instagram image and covers for Mother's Day that's coming up on Sunday." See, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she is on top of it for me. And, she's like, "We should create it. I'll create it." Done.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even have to think about it. Nothing. She's already created it. She already sent it to me. We use Trello. We use Trello boards for
Yeah.
all that. So I love that as well too. Okay. So I hire a virtual assistant, Daniel. I hire a virtual assistant. Um, what is the beginning process? Like, is there an orient? Or look, I'm reaching out to you. Okay. I'm reaching out to you. I want to hire someone. Where do we begin? How do we begin? Is there like a orientation kind of thing? Is there like an onboarding process? How do I communicate with my virtual assistant? What hours are they available? So I just gave you like 5, 6 questions in one, and let's see what
Yeah.
we can answer.
You know what? So again, we've done this 5,000 times. So I love all your questions, and we've broken it into a process that we know just works, because we wouldn't exist as a business if we didn't serve our clients at a high level. Like, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
So you nailed it with Trello. I don't know if you've always been a genius, but I mean, you're a genius.
I just started yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, pop that collar. But look, dude, text messages, phone calls, FaceTime. We're on a video right now, so you and I can like get to know each other and like have fun together. Same concept, man. It's always communication, 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 and we'll help you make sure you've got all that right stuff in place. Asana is a great option. We use Monday. We use Ring Central as our phone kind of system. So what we want to do is set you up in the beginning so that day one you're communicating well with your virtual assistant. So it's always about communication and the systems that you have to make that work at a really high level. And then the other piece is just making sure what you need done is realistic. Like we talked about 45 hours, right? We know exactly which parts of the listing presentation make sense for you to actually outsource. What's up? Oh, they can't hear us. They're on Face. I just had somebody jump in and say, "Hey, you need to get closer to the mic. People aren't hearing us well."
Oh,
there you go. My guy, but one of our best sales guys just walked in and says, "Dude, you need to talk louder." But anyways, so
they couldn't hear you. They can hear me. You're trying to get me in trouble?
I don't know.
No, I'm messing with.
I'm about to turn us up right here. I got the volume.
No, we're good.
We're over here. But yeah, so the point is first communication, and then the next is you look at that 45 hours that NAR says to close one transaction, and then you start peeling pieces off. And we know exactly what we can help with and what you should actually do, or some of your internal staff should do. But dude, like, beautiful things like client referrals, database, all the paperwork for both listing and buying side, all the marketing. I mean, look, what you want to do is make sure in the beginning you've got the right expectations, because marriages, they talk about marriage, right? Most marriages fail for money, and that's the one that everybody talks about. But the number 2 reason, which is a really big number 2, it's like represents 30-40%, is because of expectations. So we're going to help you set up the right expectations in the beginning about what's possible, what systems you need to get in place, and what your training, your onboarding process needs to be, so that you have a long, like you've had them 10 years, man, decade.
Yeah.
that's what we want for our clients, because as you're scaling a business and you're growing your real estate influence and you're becoming the local celebrity in your market, like dealing with staff turnover, that's like getting stabbed in the heart. It's no good. You don't want it, so we want you to have long-term, really good, fruitful relationships with people who are like partners to you in your business.
So basically, you would communicate with them regardless of where they are in the world, the same exact way that you would communicate with someone that's sitting right there in your office. A text message,
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a project management software that's used so everyone's on the same page, you know exactly what they're working on and all that good stuff. You set deadlines, expectations, everything.
Yeah, and we have a start of day and an end of day report. So every day you know exactly what's happening, what their day looks like, and how much they get done. We put that into our system. We have a time tracking software, so you don't have to worry like, are they actually working? We've got a technology that helps with that. And the other thing that is really, really, really important after you set up the communication and then you set the expectations, like your first 90-day training process, like that's the make it or break it. Like once you choose somebody, you're super stoked. It's like, how do you onboard them? And, that is another area where there's secret sauce, happens.
Good. So, do I get to choose who I work with, or do you guys choose that person for me? How does that work?
Well, how'd you find yours? I love that question. Let's start with that. Like, where did you find your virtual assistant?
I think it was around the time where I read the 4-hour work week at that time, and that's where I was turned on to all that stuff. And I guess there was a website that was on there, and I went there, and that wasn't anything. And I did a Google search, and I found this other thing. I'm not gonna disclose the actual URL for that right now, but it's like an online job portal. And
right.
I placed an ad, and like literally at nighttime and in the morning, I had like 100 people fighting for a job. And I was like, oh, what do I do? So here's what I did. I actually hired 3 people. Okay. I gave them all the same exact task. And I said, let me see who does it better and who does it faster. That's the one I keep, and I'll fire the other 2.
Right.
That's the way I did it. And I guess some people say you got lucky. And I guess I am lucky.
Dude, you are lucky. What's cool about that story, though, is we do all of that work for you. So last year we had over 30,000 people apply to work for My Outdesk, like 30,000. So we put them through an initial interview. We do a background check, so to make sure they're like not a criminal, right? We're also checking their references. So if you're hiring somebody who's a marketing person, we're going to find a marketing person. Like that's who we hire. You want a marketing person, we're going to go find somebody who's just marketed for other companies. Now they're going to come market for you, right? So we put them through basically an extensive interview process. We do a personality profile. We check their references. We make sure they're not criminals, right? We do an FBI grade background check. And we check their comm skills. Like they've got to be wicked good at communicating. Everybody comes to us and says, well, can they speak English? I'm like, dude, some of these folks are speaking like, it's like you can't even tell that they're not right next to you in your office, right?
My virtual assistant corrects my English all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not a writer. So we've got somebody over there who writes for us, right? So anyways, we do all this stuff. Then we put them through the 2 weeks of training, right? We give them that kind of basics. And then we give them to somebody to actually interview. So last year we onboarded about 300-400 people out of the 30,000 that apply. And so if you think about it, like, yes, you can absolutely go on some website and you can get 100 applications. Then you have to sort through them. Maybe you get a good one, maybe you don't. We do all of that work up front so that you can focus on getting new team members on your team and growing your business and getting more listings. So we do all of that for you. Plus we're in relationship, meaning we give them healthcare. We, take care of all their financials. So we get them paid. We're doing all the hard work of actually having employees. So you can just focus on, getting more, growing and scaling a business.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Love it. So you guys got all of that taken care of. You guys based on what I'm looking for, you guys match me up with the perfect person. Do I get to interview that person? Do I get to have a conversation with that person?
Yeah, we'll send you a copy of their resume, a video, and their personality profile, and we do 3 to 5, and then you get to do like a video face to face, just like you and I are doing right now, and you get to choose if this person's a good fit for you or not. And if you interview these 3 people and you're like, I don't like any of them, Daniel, I'll give you 3 more. I'll give you 3 more until you find that right match. And not only that, we've hired 5,000 people, right? And so there aren't very many agents who's even hired over 500, let alone 100, right? So we'll craft the interview process so that you're getting maximum value, so that you're getting a culture fit, you're getting somebody who like shares your same values, and as well as somebody who can actually do the job,
Right. Okay. So Daniel, I hire somebody, and they begin obviously right away. What are the hours? How many hours a week do I get them for? I mean,
we are a little different than your setup. I love what you're doing, where they're working at night and you give them a task list and then they do it. Think of us like there's a lot of dating sites out there where you can find a project or maybe try to hire somebody, but we're like a marriage site. Like, what we want you to do is find, if you have a job right now that you need filled, you call us, we're going to find you a perfect match. And that's going to be like a long-term employer fit, right? And that's actually what we look for, is like this, our whole world is around finding good talent, making perfect matches, and then going off into the future together to really create positive impact. Some of the things that we do in the world, like last year, we built an orphanage for 50 kids. Our clients pitched in and was part of that. And I love that stuff. So we're finding good talent, we're matching it, and then we're creating impact in the world, and all in the real estate world, all for brokers and agents just like you guys.
So they work the same hours that I work every single day, like a 9 to 5 kind of thing. I mean, how many hours a day, how many hours a week do I get them for?
Yeah, full time, man. It's full-time job, whatever your work schedule. So if you're on the East Coast, fine. If we have a client up in Canada, like the weird part of Canada, where they're like 5 hours ahead or something like that. So our people work when your business actually needs it. Some of our, when we have some prospecting teams of 5, 6, 7 people that they're staggered. So there's coverage on the weekends and evenings. They're supporting 3 different offices and sign calls and all those different, activities. And they're making warm transfers so that, nobody ever, I don't want to, the military says no fallen soldiers. Like, they don't leave, no matter what, they don't leave it. That's how we feel about listings, right? And leads and phone calls and the paperwork and the marketing. Just, there's so much opportunity in our world to really elevate and scale. And yet so little of us actually do that. So if that's what you're into, like, give us a call. We'll help.
Love it. Love it. So where do they call you? How do they reach out to you? How do they get more information? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, just jump on myoutdesk.com, man. Jump on our website. Our phone number's right there. You can schedule a consultation that works for you. What I like about that is one of our virtual assistants, actually, and we call them virtual professionals, because I hate the word assistant, because we have some of the most talented people in the world in our company. So we call them virtual professionals. But if you register on our website, you'll get a call from one of our people who are actually in the Philippines, and you can get an experience of what it's like to talk with them. They'll ask you some questions, find out what your needs are, and then set you up to actually sit down with a professional that's here, that knows the real estate game, knows your business, and can actually help you craft those expectations.
Love it. Love it. All right. Okay. So I think we've covered a lot of ins and outs of, they know now how to find one, and they know what to expect when they begin to work with one. And obviously more time and freedom and more growth for their business, a much more better systemized business. Too many businesses operating with broken systems right now, and that's why the stress levels are so high and all that crazy stuff. Do you feel like there's a question I should have asked you, Daniel, that I did not ask today?
I mean, I think you were awesome, actually. And I hope if you're listening, you got a lot of value from this, man. I mean, here's the thing. I probably would let the audience end with this. You know, like 83% of us have zero assistance. Like literally 83 of all licensed professional. There's 2 million of us. You know, 1.6 million people are like solopreneurs doing it themselves. And you know, we you know, that's just too bad, because the way to grow a business is through people, you know, who care and have work ethic and really want to support and be like partners. So, you know, I just leave, if you're right now, if you're busy, if you haven't gone to the gym, barely see your kids and wife, you know, are the glue. You know, the reason people get stressed is because they don't have systems and processes in place. So they're running around holding all of these things together so deals don't fall apart. And that's hard on our brains. It's hard on our hearts and our bodies, man. So if there's any wish that I had for your audience, man, if you feel like that, just know you're not alone. There's a lot of us that have solved that. Give us a call. We'll help.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great way to end the show. Daniel, thank you very much for taking the time out from your busy schedule to share with our audience how they can leverage, you know, virtual professionals so they can operate their business a little bit more systematically, so they can increase their profit and they can increase their time and freedom. Okay. So we appreciate you. And for our listeners out there, whether you're listening to this on the Top Listing Agent Show podcast and or watching this on YouTube or anywhere else, my virtual professional is going to put this everywhere.
Everywhere. Yep.
Everywhere. Wherever you're listening and or watching, please leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. We really appreciate it. That's what keeps the show going. And Daniel, thank you. I appreciate you. And I'd love to have you on again so we can take this conversation to a whole new level sometime in the near future. You rock,
dude,
buddy.
I'm all about that, man. And if you're listening, I don't know, should we give them something? I was thinking like we can give away. I was thinking if you call us or get on our website, like this week, like right now, because you need help, I'm going to waive your setup fee. Normally we charge $400 to do all that screening, but you know, if you mention this show, if you said Chadi, he sent me, we're going to give you $400 in your pocket. How does that feel?
Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you very much for that. That's a very generous offer. So guys, I didn't even know he was going to do this. I mean, I was ending the show and he's like, hey, hold on a second. Let's give people, you know, some love. And so basically $400. So basically you're waiving the setup fee, $400. Okay.
Yeah. But they never do that. By the way, I never do that. But this was just such a good one. And if you're listening, I really do never do that. My sales team wish I would allow them to do that, but just for you and your audience, man, because it's the first time we've ever got to hang out on you know, together online.
Awesome. Love that. So see, there you go. One of the things that I always tell my clients is that, you know, that the more that they hang out with me, the more abundance they begin to experience. And, you know, you just verified that, Daniel.
There you go. The world is good, man. The world is good.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, brother. I appreciate you, my main man. Hang on. I'm just going to get us off live. And I appreciate you. I appreciate our audience. Love you guys. And I'm going to bring you guys way more goodies coming soon. So stay tuned.